afraid I've got some bad news. I knew it. I love when he does that.
All right, Jim, one final question, and then we'll play a song or two. This is another one that's a popular topic that several people have sent in, so I will ask you. Sent to cornydrivethrough@gmail.com. This one is from Greg. Dave Meltzer recently tweeted the following. Riddle me this. How many Booker of the Year winners in the last 28 years didn't grow up reading my writing and learning from it?
Oh, God.
Answer is 2.
Oh, good God.
Answer is 2, and one couldn't have because he's much older than I am. Looking at the best Booker winners of the last 28 years, my assumption would be that the 2 he is referring to are Vince McMahon and Triple H. Since Jim Cornette won Best Booker numerous times in that period, that would mean Dave is inferring that Jim learned from reading Dave.
Wait.
Then someone asked Dave, are you seriously trying to insinuate that you have had an influence on the Bookers of the Year's booking ability? You are delusional. Dave responded, you honestly think people spending an hour plus a week reading something didn't pick up any of the lessons? Dave went on to say,
he's a college professor now, is what you're saying.
It would be impossible not to, given in my life of the 3 people I've spent the most time talking booking with, 2 of the 3 are multi-time winners. The third is Mike Tenay, who was never a singular booker, but was on committees at different times. Once again, Greg says, my assumption is Jim is one of the people he is referencing in this, since Dave used to have a good relationship with Jim. Can Jim clarify if he learned booking lessons from reading Dave's writing, and if Dave was in part responsible for Jim's booking ability?
Oh, good God. But take me out of it for a second. Why would you come out and say something like that to begin with? That all but 2 of the Booker of the Year winners of the last 30 years learned booking by reading my writing. Why would you? Didn't we talk about it? Was it on the Experience just this last week where a lot of people have to come up and make themselves more important than they really are, either verbally or try to give that impression or whatever, just to fill some need? They're so-and-so's cousin. They're related to so-and-so. They used to work with so-and-so. My neighbor was the original Masked Superstar. And now Dave's doing it? And it's not even an insult. I've learned a lot from Dave's writing when it comes to the obituary pieces that he has done, which he puts a lot of research in. And I learn about the careers of some of these guys, especially that were lost to the mists of time, and you get a new look at them. The historical pieces are wonderful. But I'd never heard of Dave Meltzer or read anything he wrote until I'd been in the business for fucking 3 years. 1985. Jimmy Garvin comes in the goddamn Crockett's office for promos on a Wednesday, and he said, hey, have you seen the scandal sheet? I said, what? He showed me an Observer. He had gotten a hold of it had just started like a year before, if that. One of the early issues of the Observer. And I said, Jesus Christ. It was the first time that I had seen somebody writing down finishes and bookers and etc. in a published publication, only letters amongst, close fans and people in the business. And I quickly started reading it and saw that it was a way to keep up with who was where in what territory and what was going on. But I pretty much was already in the business for several years at that point, not to mention my 6 years previous to getting in the business at 82 as a photographer and etc. So my thoughts on things were kind of shaped before I read Dave's magic words. But who else does that take in the last, what do you say, 28? You know why he said 28 years? Go back and look and see who won it in 1993, too.
You won it in 1993. I have the list right here.
Yeah. So he was trying to get out of me by saying, instead of saying in the last 30 years, the last 28 years. But didn't I win it in 2000 something, too?
Here are the winners in order from 86 on.
All right.
86, Dusty Rhodes. 87, Vince McMahon. 88, Eddie Gilbert. 89, 90, and 91, Giant Baba. 92, Ricky Choshu. 93, Jim Cornette. 94, 95, 96, 97, Paul Heyman. 98, 99, and 2000, Vince McMahon. 2001, Jim Cornette. 2002, Paul Heyman. 2003, Jim Cornette. 2004, 2005, 6, and 7, Gabe Sapolsky. 2008, 9, and 10, Joe Silva of the UFC. 2011, 12, 13, and 14, Ghetto and Jado. 2015, Triple H and Ryan Ward.
Wait a minute, I wonder how Ghetto and Jado's grip on English was when they were growing up reading. Nevertheless,
I don't know how well they read English. I'm not going to comment, but
I'm sure as adults they do. But he said these guys grew up and shaped their wrestling booking by reading me. So, all right, go ahead. 2016, 17, 18, and 19, Ghetto, and 2020 hasn't been announced yet. But based on the reaction from the people who vote on things, I'm going to guess they're going to give it to Tony Khan. So that'll well, now that I've heard that list, I'm kind of not as fucking flattered to be on it as I used to be. When I was up with Dusty Rhodes, Vince McMahon, Jim Cornette, fucking Giant Bob, I'm like, okay. But it's gone to fucking, bless him, Gabe Sapolsky and Ghetto and Ryan fucking... Who? Ryan who?
Ryan Ward and Triple H, 2015 for NXT. I assume NXT.
I'm sure one of those people was the paper carrier and the other one was telling him what to do. I don't know what to say about that. No, I didn't learn any booking. I've learned plenty of history from the historical pieces on different personalities that Dave and his staff have researched, and that's wonderful, and that's the best part of his writing, but I didn't figure out booking from Dave Meltzer. And I won it more recently than 28 years ago. But boy, with Heyman, with those runs of the table on several year stretches, goddamn, now I know how he felt when I won the Manager of the Year 13 years in a row and shut him out. God damn, that's cold.
Well, Sherry won it one of those years.
That's the year I took off.
91, yeah.
And set up Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I had to give it to somebody else. I said, fuck it. I'm not working this year. Somebody else can win it.
All right. Well, on that note, another drive-through in the books. Jim, let's get a song or two.
Or in the booking, as they say.
Or in the booking. Well, I mean, just to go back to this for 1 second, because there has been a level of condescending comments in Dave's tweets at times. But do you think in any way maybe it's gone to his head a little bit? The fact that like a Tony Khan is up and running with a big budget, openly talking about how influential the Observer was to him. I mean, the fact that he's just coming out and saying this now, that, these guys all learned from reading me.
I guess maybe he just, at this point he wants the people in the business, rather than the people just reading him, but the people in the business to say he's been a great mind all along. I never said he was an idiot until he started saying stupid shit. And he's still got a lot of good points, but I don't recognize this Dave. At least I stay consistent. I'm always an asshole. He was nice and normal, and then suddenly fucking flipped out and became an anal wrestling Rain Man. And it's just, he's not fun anymore.
Well, let's get to a song or two.
That would be a good song title, Anal Wrestling Rain Man.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Welcome to the Hoots Podcast. This is a podcast about life, which just happens to be centered and focused around the world of professional wrestling. We tackle the topics of the week, both inside and outside of the squared circle, while also focusing on the issues that are plaguing the world today. Whether it's wrestling, sports, life, or anything in general, we've got you covered right here on the Hoots Podcast. And now, here's your host, Josh Lopez.
And if that doesn't work, then by God, me and my friend Mark, we're going to stop watching. That's right.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 246 of the Hoots Podcast. Hope you guys are having a wonderful week so far. As yours truly, the nefarious brother Adam. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Lopez Media. I am still suspended on Twitter, unfortunately. I don't know why. I'm an innocent person. I don't take any money for these artists when I do these guitar covers. I'm a good human being. I have a good, kind-hearted soul. I'm not trying to harm anybody's feelings. I'm sorry, DMCA, if that's your group name, that you're so butthurt over my fucking guitar covers. Please get over yourself and give me my damn account back. Folks, put it on Twitter right now. Hashtag Free the Hoots Podcast. Lift the suspension. This is like the first time in my life I've ever been suspended for something. And it's kind of ridiculous the reason why I got suspended on Twitter. I mean, there's people that like put out weird messages to wrestlers about sending them mail and going to take a visit to their house and just being weird. And you know, it's okay for other people to share full scenes from movies and porn scenes, but God forbid I could go on Twitter and share a damn guitar cover for 45 seconds to a minute long. But no, we gotta hit you with copyright strikes for that. YouTube, you're not any different. I'm not leaving you off the hook. I mean, hell, that's one of the reasons why I kind of split up the recording process with this, because you guys can hear my voice here, and then you get the audio version, and then that's all the fun stuff goes. So, anyways, please, hashtag Free the Hoots Podcast on Twitter. Lift the damn suspension already. So, we got a lot of fun stuff to talk about this week. As always, we got to review Elimination Chamber that just went down this past Sunday at the WWE Thunderdome. I'll get into that. Also got our weekly main event segment, What the Hell is Wrong with AEW? We'll get to that as well. And also, don't forget the Thoughts of Dericho with the one, the only, Brother Carter. Yes. Brother Carter does a great job with the podcast every single week, and I appreciate him being a big part of this show. You know, it's crazy to think that we would get close to 250 episodes. I mentioned this when we did the 200th episode last year, that I never thought this show would get past 100. Nothing ceases to amaze me when it comes to this field, especially from good and bad. I mean, I started doing these type of wrestling talk shows when I was 19. So I started this in 2013. And it just continues to go on. This has been going on for 8 years now, of just nonstop grinding, pushing out articles on ProWrestlingTranscripts.com. Make sure to bookmark that website right now if you could, please. I really appreciate that. And then this show as well, you know, it's evolved in a lot of ways, but I think the charm of this podcast is that myself or the people that have been associated with this show have never changed. I'm very proud of that, because sometimes when you're like a content creator, like you can get so bogged down by what you do that you start losing yourself. And I noticed that a lot with a lot of people that like work in the entertainment business and just in general in life, when they're so focused on their career, they start losing on who they are. And it's not just like professionally. I mean, personally too, you could be so bogged down by one person that you're living with that person may not be helping you grow. And then in that process, you are starting to lose yourself. And I never want that to happen for anybody. So I always tell you folks, be the authentic product that is yourself. And also remember, be cautious of what you're giving your energy to. because there's a lot of times where we just waste energy that we can't have back for people that just really don't care about us at the end of the day. So I always say be cautious with the energy you give to people and how you go about your days. So a little tip of advice for you guys today. But we're getting into the Good Brothers Q&A session. We do this every single week on the Hoots podcast. I'm very appreciative of the Good Brothers like Chris Zaletta and Nate the Great and everybody else who sends questions each and every single week. The guys do a great job mixing it up and making a different feel every week. And they're a big part of why we do this segment, and it carves out the first half hour of the show. So, by the way, I hope you guys enjoyed the Jim Cornette clip you heard in the beginning, because I have some choice words for Mr. Meltzer regarding him saying that bookers learn from him. I'll be talking about that once I get into the AEW segment later on in the show. So, all that being said, you see on the screen here on the YouTube version, you can follow me. That's where you can follow me on all my social media accounts. But if you're on audio, it's at Josh Lopez Media, at Joshie Lopez 94 on Instagram, at Josh Lopez Music, if you want to hear me do some good guitar covers. So, all that being said, let's rock and roll, pal. Oh, I forgot one thing. Please subscribe to the podcast. Very important. Subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 4 or 5 star review and rating. It helps expand the reach of the show, and I want to know what you guys like about the podcast or stuff you like to see different. And I'm always open to constructive criticism. So, reach out to your boy. Let me know what you think about the Hoots podcast. So, anyways, we're going to get into the Good Brothers Q&A session right now. We're going to start off per ritual with the good brother Chris Zaletta at XTeenZaletta24X on Twitter. He says, "What's up, Oos? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. I'll save some good ones for TBD. Oh, by the way, since I'm mentioning TBD, myself and brother Carter will be making the voyage to the land known as TBD Wrestling tonight." That's right. Your boy and brother Carter will be special guests of the podcast that's yet to be determined. Matt McCool and referee Tony S's show. Excited to shoot the shit with the guys tonight. It'll be a lot of fun. Little pipe bomb reunion, whatever you want to call it, but it's always good to shoot the shit and hang out with good brothers. So I'm excited to record that later on tonight. And then when it comes to this show, it's just the charm about our shows and the type of content we do is that I want you guys to feel like I'm sitting next to you and we're talking about wrestling. I don't need to come on here and act like I'm a Sports Center anchor or pretend that I'm just like JD for New York and I'm popping a blood vessel every 5 seconds just to act irrational and all this bullshit. Like, I'm a real human being. What you see is what you get. What you hear is what you get. I'm well and confident of who I am and the fact that I can think and speak for myself. And I know for a fact that me and you will probably disagree on a wrestling topic. And that's perfectly fine. I just think for those who are like first-time listeners of the podcast is that the important thing I want to be perfectly clear from me to you is that I want you guys to think for yourselves. Hell, don't take what I say for gospel. I mean, I'm always open to open dialogue, but I feel like there's too much of a sheep and herd mentality these days where somebody says one thing and then people flock onto it, and that's the gospel. Like, for me personally, I've always been that person where if I could find a flaw in a common narrative that I think is stupid, I'll point it out. Now, the difference with me, I'm more positive and laid back, and I just don't have my time to be morose and act like the world's ending every 5 seconds. I'm not a person that lives with a glass half empty. What's the phrase? Like, glass empty. I'm not that type of person. I'm not that negative Nelly glass empty person that's like, oh, fuck this, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but this, if my mother had balls, she'd be my father, alright? You get my point. Like, I'm so tired of wrestling Twitter and their snarky-ass attitude. Like, it's so ridiculous. One, get over yourself. Secondly, for the AEW sheep out there, go get fucking laid. And 3, take a chill pill. This is pro wrestling. You guys act like you're responsible for what goes down on these wrestling shows, and that could be further from the truth. Like, know your role. All right, here's some questions from Chris. Sorry, I needed to get that off my chest. Where would you like to see Mitch Trubisky end up? I was mentioning this a little bit yesterday on Twitter, that I am a Mitch Trubisky fan. Here we go. Here's the first thing we can disagree on. Shoot your arrows at me. Do it right now. I am a fan of Mitch Trubisky. I think he got dealt a bad hand here in the city, not because of just one person. It's just the overall experience and everything that went into the drafting of Mitch Trubisky. The fact that him and his family got booed at the Bulls game the night after he got drafted to the team. It was just like, since the kid got drafted here, it's like people just waiting for him to fail. And I am a person that really roots for people that deal with people that are jumping on them and maybe misunderstood, or people just talking shit just to talk shit. Like, I always defend that type of person. And I'm not fucking Chris Berman. I'm not Rich Eisen. I'm not Peter King. I'm not some football expert or anything like that. I played football in high school. Is Mitch Trubisky Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? No. But just some of the stuff that the things are just directed towards him, and the snarky stuff you get even from media outlets. Like, we're supposed to be objective and professional, yet you have outlets like Pro Football Focus and CBS Sports and all these different media outlets that try to send subtle insults at Mitch Trubisky. And I'm like, what do you get out of that? Like, subtweeting Mitch Trubisky with gifs of people doing this and that. Like, I don't care whether you think a player is good or not, but openly or subtly, like, or indirectly trying to insult a professional athlete, I just think it's kind of ridiculous, especially for a guy that's never stirs the pot, the guy that never goes is woe is me or anything like that, a guy that's well respected in the locker room, the guy that busts his ass, the guy who's had a good winning percentage since he's been a starting quarterback here in Chicago. And, football conversations, just like wrestling, kind of intertwined in the fact that their fan bases just don't apply any context to what happens in those realm of entertainment. They just don't. It's easy to say, oh, they should have just drafted Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. Can you 100% guarantee me that those guys would be in the same position that they are right now if they were drafted here with John Fox? Like, I just love how context always goes out the window when it comes to sports fans and wrestling fans. But what are you going to do? People are going to be people, right? So, for me, I would love to see Mitch with the Patriots. I know that'll probably make you cringe and just feel downtrodden, Chris, and I'm sorry for that. But the troll in me, the guy that likes to see the world burn at times, I just love to see him with Belichick. But for me, I could probably see him being like a backup in San Francisco or possibly Pittsburgh or San Francisco, or maybe Mitch could be replacing Teddy Bridgewater if the Panthers decide to move on from him. I could see that possibly. It just depends. For me, as a Bears fan, I don't want Mitch Trubisky to come back, not because of blah 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 or obvious reasons. It's not a good match. And honestly, Matt Nagy has done more damage to Mitch Trubisky than Mitch Trubisky has done to the Bears. Just look at that Philadelphia Eagles playoff game, and you tell me that Mitch Trubisky is the worst quarterback of all time or the worst quarterback in the league, and I'll tell you that you're completely full of shit. Like, look at the Bears. They're the one that picked up Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Those type of people that just do that all the time and point, they pissed on this person, they pissed on that person. Those are the people that have no life or probably not getting laid. So they need to find other outlets to make themselves feel better about themselves. They need to trash other athletes to receive some inner affirmation, and I just don't understand that. Okay, so judge me for being a Mitch Trubisky fan, and sorry that I don't think that he's the worst quarterback of all time. Sorry. It is what it is. Next question. Where does Velvet Sky rank in the waterfall list? Wow. This early, I think this is the first time we had a waterfall question on the Good Birds Q&A session. I like this. Well, Chris, for me, I think as far as waterfall is concerned, by the way, speaking of water, as far as waterfall is concerned, I think Velvet Sky had the best waterfall in the history of TNA outside of Brooke Tessmacher, but that's my opinion. Velvet Sky is a beautiful woman, just in every sense of the word. Personality-wise, obviously, waterfall looks for sure. For me, as far as my all-time waterfall list, it's hard for me because when it comes to waterfall, I have to separate different brackets of generation, what company it is, et cetera, et cetera. It's very descriptive as far as the list of waterfalls. I mean, there's could be 10 of them if we could be honest here. But yeah, if there was a waterfall list for TNA performers and stuff, I would definitely say that Velvet Sky is on the top of that list. She's always been a beautiful woman. So that's a good question, though. I think it's the first time we got a waterfall question out here. Okay, next question here we got is favorite songs from the early 2000s. Oh, man, that's a good one. Well, Chris, I shared one of them earlier on Twitter. We talked about it. A song called Holiday Inn by Chingy and Snoop Dogg and Ludacris. I am a kid of the late 90s and early 2000s. I'll admit it here, I listened to a lot of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys when I was a young man. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm not embarrassed by it. It is what it is. So, yeah, so I checked out those. Songs are very hit and miss for me. I as far as memories concerned, Rock the Boat by Aaliyah, any song by Aaliyah during that time period was on point. I love the song Missing You by Case. This is another popular one from the early 2000s. One of my favorite albums of all time is Confessions by Usher, is another one that really stands out to me over the years. Another one, let's see, Twerk It Out from the 8701 album is another great song. I know Biggie had his Biggie Duets album, Nasty Girl, and all this stuff, and that was really good as well. I mean, there's so many songs to choose from, my man. There really is. You can look at the DMX Prayers, Ashanti. I know you're a big fan of Ashanti, Chris. So there's a lot to choose from. My range of music has really changed a lot over the years since playing guitar and stuff. So it can vary. One day I can be into Ashanti. The next day I can be pulling up a song like I Miss My Friend by Daryl Worley. By the way, the most beautiful love song I ever heard in my life, yet really sad at the same time, is I Miss My Friend. If you guys have never heard that song, let alone watch the music video for that song, I totally recommend you guys go check it out. It's not super country where it's talking about beer and truck and anything. It's really something sentimental. Honestly, for me personally, over the last couple years or so, I've really got to country ballads and stuff like that. I'm not doing the whole Jason Aldean sitting in my truck, rain on rain. I'm not into that part of country, but I enjoy it for what it is. So that's a good question. All right, here we go. Which Bulls championship was the toughest one to get? Well, I think now, since we have the proper context of what went down in the last dance, I would have to say the first one, just because what went into getting into that journey and what the Bulls as an organization went through, going through those growing pains and building that team for what it was. So I'd probably say the first one against the Lakers in 1991 is probably the best one and the toughest one that they had to win. I mean, you could say possibly the Phoenix Suns or Utah Jazz, but when it came to like the second leg of that three-peat, even I as a young kid at the time, it was just like inevitable that Michael Jordan was just going to put a team away. And even when people try to bring up the fact that, oh, LeBron's better than Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan, first off, never lost in the NBA Finals. And Michael Jordan never allowed an NBA Finals go to a Game 7. So Michael Jordan's the GOAT, and it's not even close. Next question. What should be the next major 30 for 30 ESPN gives us? That's a great question. There's a lot to choose from. I don't know if I would pick one about wrestling. I mean, I know they did a Ric Flair one. I mean, can you really do a 30 for 30 on John Cena? Probably not. Can you do a 30 for 30 on CM Punk? No. He doesn't have that much of a mainstream appeal as much as he's my guy. So probably no. I look at it and it's like, as far as sports concerned, I mean, you can look at the Patriots dynasty like in full detail. I would love to see one done on the 2005 White Sox, a World Series team that people tend to forget, yet had one of the best pitching performances of all time. I don't know if you can make it a 30 for 30 just on that, but just an idea out there. Or I'm sure they would do one for the 2016 Cubs since they broke their curse, right? They broke their World Series curse. So I can see Cubs getting one. I mean, I don't know what like documentary you could come up with where it's just gonna be like as big the level of The Last Dance. Like honestly, for me, I have so much like LeBron fatigue that even if his documentary comes out, I'm not rushing to go see a LeBron James documentary. It's not must see for me. Like I'm not gonna go watch Space Jam 2. So it's really hard to say, but there's a lot of different like topics that I'll probably think about later on, but that's a good question. I'll love you guys to tell me like what 30 for 30s would you guys like to see. Let's see. Next question. Should Drew be chasing the title until SummerSlam instead of getting it back at WrestleMania? Well, one thing I'll say right now as far as where things are going heading towards WrestleMania on Raw is that I don't know what's going on, and I don't mind that to a certain extent. I mean, we all can make assumptions and make asses of ourselves. You know the drill with that when it comes to assuming stuff, but as far as chasing or getting titles back or being the champion, that philosophy, Drew McIntyre has unfinished business right now to settle with Sheamus. Is there a scenario that possibly Drew McIntyre could get the title back and him and Sheamus could fight for the WWE title at WrestleMania? Sure. Can you make it a fatal four-way with Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, and The Miz? I could see that. I could see that. But I think right now, just try more money right now, just looking into WrestleMania. I have no idea what SummerSlam is going to look like, especially with the fact we don't know if fans will be back in the arenas by then. It's so hard to like look down the road from that. But I think like Drew McIntyre should just focus on Sheamus right now. You know, those guys would beat the living shit out of each other. And it's going to be a great rivalry and great matches to transcribe. I'm really excited for it. So I don't see Drew McIntyre going into WrestleMania as a champion or in a title match, but I could be wrong too. I kind of like the fact with Raw that we don't know what's going to be the WWE title match because, I mean, Bobby Lashley is getting a WWE title shot on Monday. So we'll see. That's the thing about episodic TV when it works. I'd rather let something play out than try to predict it and then like make myself feel worse about it. It takes the fun out of it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. All right, next question. Can this current Bobby Lashley run top his run at Impact? Well, I'm glad you asked that, Chris, because I wanted to mention this. Because there's certain people with podcasts that are like, oh my God, this person was in TNA. He'll never be allowed to do this and da-na-na-na-na-na. Well, I heard that Bobby Lashley from Impact would never show up on WWE because Vince McMahon wouldn't do it. He wouldn't see the potential of Bobby Lashley as a powerhouse, dominant guy. Well, you look at the Hurt Business and they're just that kind of narrative goes the drain, doesn't it? Like the Hurt Business is like one of the best things in wrestling right now, not just the WWE. I told you guys, the Hurt Business is better than the Inner Circle. It's more interesting and better and compelling and more genuine and organic than the Bullet Club. The Hurt Business is the real deal. I love that group. What MVP's done is amazing. I think he's doing the best work of his career. Shelton Benjamin, Cedric Alexander is tag team champions. What can you say that's not good about the Hurt Business? I mean, I keep hearing people, just add in Keith Lee and just do this, do that, do that. It's easy to say that and try to fantasy book and remake old factions from the Attitude Era, but how's wrestling ever going to evolve if all of our fantasy booking ideas comes from concepts from the Attitude Era? Like, that's my question for you guys. Like, how can the business evolve? How can us as podcasters evolve if all our ideas about who could join factions, who could turn heel, and how we go there is ideas that are from the Attitude Era? Like, we all need to move on from the 90s. Not just us as fans, but the entire industry. We need to move on from the Monday Night Wars. Like, the fact that people call NXT versus AEW the Wednesday Night Wars is fucking hilarious to me. So we have a ratings war with two shows that can't crack over 900,000 viewers consistently. Is it really a war? I mean, it's a war on Twitter, but does Twitter really matter at the end of the day? Maybe I'm blasphemous by asking that question, but in the grand scheme of pro wrestling, does Twitter really matter at the end of the day? Because as much as you see stuff on Twitter, and they'll tell you, they'll message you, they'll subtweet you, they'll do this and that, they'll quote tweet you, and tell you that WWE's dying and going out of business, and then you look at their quarterly revenue reports, and more times than not, it's like the people that go on these soapboxes about stuff like that are just completely full of shit. So that's the thing. Like, you look at Bobby Lashley with the run he's doing right now. He's doing the best work in his WWE career right now. Absolutely, I can see it topping what he did in Impact. And I could definitely see Bobby Lashley becoming the WWE champion sometime here in 2021. It's just a matter of when. Even if he doesn't win on Monday, it's not going to be the end of the world for him. I'm sure he'll find a way to get his title one way or another. But like, you compare what he did with Impact with the American Top Team, as much as I like Dan Lambert to a certain extent, MVP just blows Dan Lambert out the window when it comes to talking on the mic. So I'm all in for the Hurt Business. Give me the T-shirt. Let me be an advocate for the Hurt Business as well. So, good questions, Chris. Thank you so much, brother. Next questions we're going to get to here is from, let's see. Oh, yes, the Good Brothers, Nate the Great. Make sure to follow Nate on Twitter at Psycho Nagiri. Nate has a batch of questions here, and we're going to read them out to you guys right now. With so many people looming around the NXT title, who should Finn face next for it? Well, I think there's some unfinished business and some debts that need to be collected, so I say Killer Cross should be the next person to go after Finn Balor. I know there's been a lot of emphasis with the stuff with him mingling around with the Undisputed Era, but Cross needs to get his title shot back, and that'd be my choice. How big will your smile be if Bobby wins on Monday? Well, it's nothing like I'm going to be so happy where I'm laughing at The Miz or anything like that, because I'm a big fan of The Miz, and I respect what he does, and I think he's probably the most underrated professional wrestler in the last 15 years of what he does in the ring. Like, so many people are so bogged down by the fucking Dave Meltzer way and Brian Alvarez's way of thinking of how a wrestler is supposed to be booked and how a wrestler is supposed to look, how a wrestler is supposed to be this. And that's the thing. Stop referencing the fucking Observer and Dirt Sheets and all these people on basing your opinions on what they think. Their opinion doesn't matter. They don't. This is the same jacket. I'm not doing this rant right now. I'm saying it for the AEW segment, okay? But, like, you hear Brian Alvarez going on soapboxes about how The Miz sucks, and go fuck yourself, dude. You're like the shittiest podcaster I ever heard in my life. Please. But to go back to this question, like, I'll be happy for Bobby, obviously. I'm sure there'll be some people out there. Oh my God, they're playing hot potato with the WWE title before WrestleMania. Oh my God, see, this is another example of Vince's bad booking. I told you about Vince's bad booking. Tony Khan wouldn't do this. Tony Khan wouldn't do that. Right. Do you think Apollo could benefit from turning full heel and joining Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns? Do I think he could benefit from turning fully heel? Yes. Do I think he needs to join Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns? No, I do not. Where do you see Derek Carr landing? I think Derek Carr will be with the Oakland Raiders. Piggyback to the question that Chris asked earlier about Mitch, that's another place I can see Mitch going, because I know John Gruden loves quarterbacks, so if he could bring in Nate Peterman, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to bring in Mitch Trubisky. So don't be surprised if Mitch goes to Las Vegas. Where do you see this Retribution angle going? Would they really split already? Well, that's the thing. You have so many people already every week. They're like, "Oh, just end the group already. This is stupid." And then they do it, and then it's like, "Oh, you're giving up on them already." Kind of like a lose-lose situation there. I don't know. I don't. Like, I've really been liking, like, the promos that Ali's been doing. As far as, like, transcribing matches are concerned, the matches that the New Day have had with Retribution, I've enjoyed them from jotting them down. I think they've been, like, well executed as far as the match is concerned. Dijak and Mace, they do a great job in the ring. They're good performers. But, you know, something's got to give. We got to get to, like, this Kofi and Ali thing. And I think the cool thing about WrestleMania being a 2-night event this year is the fact that you could do a Kofi Kingston Ali grudge match. You know? Maybe they want to do that at Fastlane. I have no idea. But do I think they need to split them up right now? I don't. But something's got to get. There has to be like a next level of Retribution and why they're continuing on. And it has to be more than just Ali feeling bad about missing out on WrestleMania 35. So that's a good question, though. All right, here we go. Take away the card because it stinks. How great of a move was it to put Revolution on a Sunday? Now more people like me will probably watch it. I think that's true to a certain extent, but also at the same time, I'll raise you this. I don't believe that any AEW pay-per-view belongs on a Sunday night. Sunday night pay-per-views belong on professional quality shows. Not outlaw fucking flea market-esque wrestling shows. Like, oh, just because they're having an exploding barbed wire death match on a Sunday night doesn't get me more pumped up for Revolution. We'll get into that card later on because it sucks. You made a great point there. The card does stink. It's kind of double-edged. I guess for people that are kind of busy, like on a Saturday or Friday night, this is an opportunity for them to like sit back and end their week watching that pay-per-view. But still, it doesn't matter if AEW pay-per-view is on a Monday, a Tuesday, etc., etc. The show's gonna suck. It just is what it is. Should more NXT superstars go up? It's getting awfully crowded down there. It is getting crowded down there. By the way, shout out to the whole new class of wrestlers that are got signed to the Performance Center. I'm really happy for Ty Valkyrie. Speaking about good waterfall, she's very fantastic in the ring, and I'm very happy for her that she's in WWE now. Blake Christian, popular guy from New Japan. I see stuff of him on Impact as well. Really cool to see that. I know a popular name in our circles is Christian Casanova from the New England area, so I'm excited to cover his work for the first time. Eli Drake, now known as L.A. Knight, is a good addition. I put this out on Twitter last night that I think L.A. Knight's going to be like a nice blend into NXT. As far as like a character is concerned, like you're kind of seeing different layers now with the NXT brand, which I kind of appreciate, because when like NXT was first like getting hot and getting all that buzz, all they were doing was Ring of Honor wrestling. If we're being honest, that's what it was. You're seeing the Ring of Honor style of wrestling, but because you never saw that from WWE, it came off as cool. That was like the new thing. Now you watch NXT and they're trying to add different layers to their characters than just, oh, this guy's just a great wrestler. Oh, this lady's just a good worker. You're having more layers to it. That's why I kind of laugh at people. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe what they did to Johnny Gargano. Like, why is he a heel? He's like the perfect baby face. And blah, 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 blah. Like, I like the way Johnny Gargano makes you laugh a little bit. Like, like, we need to have more reasons to invest into professional wrestlers than what they do in the ring. Trust me, this is also come from the guy that prefers wrestling more than the characters and storylines. But even then, to a certain extent, we need to find a way to be entertained. And it's cool that NXT is embracing that indie style of wrestling and having longer matches. But what's really going to make NXT established as a brand is who these characters are and why we should care about them. So it's very tricky. Like, who are you gonna put in this place? Like, I think Tommaso Ciampa is ran his course in NXT. Same thing goes with Io Shirai. I can see Cameron Grimes going down and going up to Raw or SmackDown soon. Going to the moon, pal. That guy's a trip, man. But the Undisputed Era, obviously, is another entity that could be going up to Raw or SmackDown too. Like, it is getting crowded because now they're bringing in other people in from the UK version of NXT, and we got to balance it out. I do appreciate they try to get as much people as they do in that 2-hour show, but even then, that's kind of hard to do. So, I'm curious, like, who would you like to see from NXT go up to Raw or SmackDown? Do you think Dexter Lumis is championship material? Do I think he's a world champion material guy? I don't, as far as his character is concerned. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not a Dexter Lumis fan, but I don't see Dexter Lumis like main eventing WrestleMania anytime soon, unless like wrestling fans get into this weird like Dexter craze or phase where they enjoy those type of characters. It's just how it all ends up with the presentation, right? So, I like what he does. I can definitely see Lumis being like an NXT North American champion, but I don't see him as like a world champion or main event guy, but that's just my opinion. Who are your favorite wrestlers right now? That's a good question. I'll do it in men and women, so I'm fair, right? Start with the ladies. Number one, as far as like my favorite female wrestlers in the world right now, is Kaylee Ray, Charlotte, Sasha Banks. I can't say Becky because she's out in action right now, so I can't add her to that list. Shayna Baszler at 4, and then 5 will be. I I'd probably say Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, somewhere around there. So those are the 5 for the ladies. And then when it comes to like the dudes, my favorite wrestlers right now, Kevin Owens. I'll do it for each company. So WWE, Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, and fuck, who else? Was it? Wes is giving my head. Randy Orton. There you go. So those are 5 for WWE. NXT, Finn Balor, Killer Cross, Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, and Santos Escobar. Yes. And then New Japan, I'll go with Ishii, Tanahashi, number 2. Big fan of the Ace. Naito at 3. Ibushi at 4. And Shingo Takagi at 5. And then you go into MLW, you got, for me, my favorite person in MLW as far as like men are concerned is Alexander Hammerstone. Jacob Fatu 2nd, Leo Rush 3, 4. Can I put Alicia 2 on the list? She's not a wrestler, but she's fucking awesome. So 4 there, and then 5 would probably be TJP, I guess. And then Impact. My favorite person in Impact is Eddie Edwards. Rich Swann comes in at number 2. Moose at 3, 4. Definitely not Brian Myers. He could go the fuck home and stay home as far as I'm concerned. Number 4, Josh Alexander. And then number 5 is Ace Austin. So those are my favorite wrestlers right now. So I gave you a bunch of different options to choose from. All right, last question for the Q&A session this week. What gets you out of bed every morning? Well, it's stuff like this. It's the grind. It's the grind of wake up in the morning doing New Japan shows like I did this morning. It's the grind of trying to get better every week as far as being a transcriber or just a general professional broadcaster as a whole. What gets me out of the bed in the morning is the people that matter the most to me. Those people know who they are. And what gets me out of bed every morning is just knowing that, like, I feel like I'm on the right track right now in my life, that, like, I'm focused on the right things and I'm doing what I need to do. Like, I'm staying on my grind. I'm staying on my purpose. I'm valuing my time. I'm not allowing people to waste my time. I don't have any, like, major distractions going on right now. No drama. I've never really been a person that's delved into drama or anything like that, but I really like to stay, like, true to myself and just be, like, low-key with that type of stuff. But, like, in general, for me, I just, like, wake up in the morning knowing that I have another day. You know, like, we're all grateful. You know, nothing's guaranteed. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, right? And I wake up every morning knowing that, you know, I'm blessed from God. I have an opportunity to make somebody's day better, whether it's making an article or crack a couple jokes on Twitter or come out here and record a podcast or play some music. I always try to learn something new every day. So, like, every time I wake up in the morning, what keeps me motivated is knowing that I'm not where I want to be right now in my life as far as, like, professionally is concerned. But personally, like, I feel like I'm in a really good place in that, like, you know, this move to having my own place now has, like, really, like, helped re-energize me in a lot of ways. And it's, like, give me a lot more purpose is to just take this to the next level and do more and get more out of it. And I'm really happy right now. So what gets me out of the bed every morning is that, you know, I'm excited now. Like, when I was in high school and I was dealing with this stuff at home or whatever, during that dark period in my life, I was not happy to wake up every morning. I just wasn't in a good place mentally during that time period. So it's different. It's interesting when, like, you're on your purpose and you know what you want and you have goals that you strive to, and we're all dealing with a pandemic and we're still trying to figure out when we can get back to our normal lives. I don't know the next time I'm going to have an opportunity at a job interview for a local radio station here, but I'm just taking things one day at a time, and that's very important. I think a lot of people should do that too. Take every day as one day at a time, and just don't lose yourself in that process as well. So I want to thank Nate and Chris for saying another great batch of questions this week. You guys were awesome as always. You can follow Chris on Twitter, by the way, at XTeens1124X. And Nate is on Twitter at Psycho Nagiri. So, great Q&A session this week as always. I appreciate the support, guys. And when we come back, I'll be recapping what went down in the Elimination Chamber and what happened this week in WWE. And, folks, find your purpose. Stay on your grind. Smile. Have a reason to wake up every day and get better. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your independence like I am now, and live your life, man. I love you guys. This is the Q&A session. We'll be right back right here on the Hoots podcast. So yes, sir.
Miz, congratulations.
You don't even need to ask a question. As a matter of fact, go, because this camera is all mine. Understand that I told you so. Whenever someone says I wasn't thinking on their level, I am a master strategist. I think further than anybody else in all of WWE. I didn't just take respect, I demanded it. Through all the WWE universe, and I could care less if everybody's on the internet going, oh, Miz doesn't deserve it. Oh, Miz shouldn't be WWE champion. Cry! Go ahead and cry and keep on doing it, because that is the fuel that lights my fire. I am your WWE champion, whether you like it or not. 10 years ago, we had an angry Miz girl, and I hope and I pray that there are thousands upon thousands, millions of angry Miz girls right here, right now, sopping, weeping, wishing that Drew McIntyre was still their WWE champion. He is not. I am. So this is me saying I am now content being awesome. See you at WrestleMania or at Monday Night Raw. Whichever I feel like, because I'm champion and I do whatever the hell I want.
Dad, I can't do this crap anymore. I can't focus on my tag match. I can't focus on what I love doing, and that's this business. With this Lacey stuff, I can't focus. You dancing, having the audacity to dance around after she announced her pregnancy, whether you think it's funny to pretend that it's yours or not, it's not funny. I've told you this before. It's not about whether you think you're better than me or if I think I'm better than you. It's about protecting our last name. It's about protecting our legacy. That's what I'm doing here. Why do you think I'm busting my ass? It's not funny. Dad, I'm not. Do you see me out there? This is not the performer I am. Go home. Please. I'm sorry.
First of all, I never said the baby was mine. Okay? Number two, I saw a lot of potential in a genuinely good human being.
You see a lot of potential in many blondes, okay? That's all I'm saying. You've seen this same woman over and over and over, but this time you think it's funny to do it on my time? On my time, you think that's funny? She's a coworker.
Can I finish?
Please finish.
I saw that she could be a great competitor. Okay? I thought I could motivate her like I've motivated you. I think a lot of your life, I push you. I'm not saying that I made you the champion that you are. You've done that on your own, but I like to think I had some part in it. But if you think that if you have the audacity to think that I'm doing anything to trash the name, all I want our name to be is what it is right now, household.
Okay. Well, I don't see it that way. You come here saying you want to be my dad. You come here saying that you want to support the women. You come here saying that you're my biggest cheerleader, my biggest fan. But on my time, you're trying to take the spotlight. Doing this, you think it's funny? No, when I'm in the ring, it's my time. It's my time to prove that I'm not Ric Flair's daughter, that I am Charlotte Flair. No, I think you still want to be the nature boy, even on your daughter's time. So go home. Wait, I'm thankful for the doors that you have opened. I'm thankful for everything that you have given me. But let me try to be Charlotte's Web. I love you, Dad. That's all it is. I love you.
All right, folks, back here on the Hoots Podcast, ready to talk about what happened this week in WWE. We got a pay-per-view to review right now, as we'll get into the Elimination Chamber that took place this past Sunday night on the WWE Network at the WWE Thunderdome. The pretty solid pay-per-view. I wouldn't say it's a pay-per-view that I would probably go back and watch a gazillion times. I thought this Chamber pay-per-view was pretty solid. As more as like these gimmick pay-per-views come by, like I start to notice a lot of the missing elements of the fans being there, like just the reactions of wrestlers coming out of the chamber pods and some of the spots that go down to these type of matches, like that ambience of a crowd reaction, like during the gimmick pay-per-view, like a Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, Money in the Bank, stuff like that. Like it takes the sales out of you a little bit, but I didn't let that deter my enjoyment of the show. I thought, for the most part, this pay-per-view was pretty good. And most WWE pay-per-views are good than Twitter leads you to believe. But it always goes back to that thing I always mentioned. Because one match didn't go the way you wanted, or your favorite wrestler didn't win a particular match, it doesn't mean the whole show sucks. I think that's a dumb way to look at things. Like I was like, for me, the two biggest things that are like kind of like a miss for me on the show on Sunday was the WWE Women's Tag Team title match. Like I'm done with Reginald. I get the point of him being out there to lure Carmella back into getting another title shot at Sasha Banks before WrestleMania, but this is where it gets a little bit too far at some point. Like, Reginald just needs to stop. He needs to go the fuck home and stay the fuck home. But, like, not even that. It's just, like, me personally, like, watching Nia Jax wrestle, like, makes my eyes quiver as bad as seeing Aubrey Edwards officiate a wrestling match. Like, there's an expression in wrestling that they call the drizzling shits. Well, that's Nia Jax in a nutshell. So, like, I'm sorry, I gotta call it like I see it. So, like, seeing her wrestle, like, it's bad for me. It's like watching Jelly Nutella wrestle, you know. I'm pretty sure he's gonna vanity search this podcast and heard me call you Jelly Nutella. Damn right I did. By the way, this guy gets a shot for the TNT title. Then he's in a fucking Mud Show 8-man tag at Dark the next week. The guy freaking sucks. But back to the Chamber. I really like the match that we saw in the kickoff show, the Fatal 4-Way, which had Elias taking on Ali, Ricochet, and John Morrison in a Fatal 4-Way match. This was to replace Keith Lee in the United States Championship match. John Morrison won after Ali was too focusing on Retribution laying out Ricochet on the outside. Morrison got to that spot, and I thought it was the right choice there. And Morrison and Riddle had a really good match with Bobby Lashley. Congrats to the WWE's Jar Jar Binks for becoming the United States champion. Riddle is your new U.S. champion, and I like that match. I thought it was pretty solid, actually. As far as the chamber matches are concerned, because I know that's what you guys want me to get into, the SmackDown one for me was really good. I really enjoyed it. This is a lot of good stuff and storytelling in that, and Sami Zayn was hilarious in it as well. I want to give props to Keith Corbin. I thought Keith Corbin had a really good showing. You know, I know a lot of people are kind of over and done with his King Corbin like shtick and his character, but the guy can still go in the ring, and I don't think the guy gets enough props for what he can do inside of that ring, to be honest with you guys. So I thought King Corbin had a good showing. Yes, he was the first one eliminated, but even then, I thought he did a good job. I was kind of bummed out that Cesaro didn't win. I'll say this again. This is not to disparage or disrespect Daniel Bryan. I am a fan of his, and I respect what he's done for the wrestling industry. For me personally, as a wrestling fan, this is the fan Joshie coming out here. I am so done with seeing Daniel Bryan and his sheet of fans on Twitter trying to freaking Twitter pressure WWE into giving him a title shot at WrestleMania every season. I'm done. I'm so sick and tired of it. Please, like, you're not going to top what happened at WrestleMania 30, and you're not going to top what he did as a heel for what he did for Kofi Kingston at WrestleMania 35. You're just not going to do it. I respect him. He's an amazing wrestler. I have no interest in seeing Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania because we all know the end result's going to be what it is. And you guys are still going to be your soapbox as if it was 2014 all over again. And I just have no time for that. I don't. So I wanted to see Daniel Bryan lose that match. I wanted to see Cesaro win, but we had to insist on keeping this whole main event Jey Uso thing going on. So Jey decided to eliminate Cesaro. So we had Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns following the situation. I saw people on Twitter, really? We're doing this match now? They literally said it before the pay-per-view that whoever wins the match gets an instant title shot with Roman Reigns. It wasn't like, oh, whoever wins the match will wait till the end of the show. Listening's a skill. And of course Roman Reigns should come out there. He's a heel. Like, do we forget how heel works now? Oh, Daniel Bryan didn't even have a chance to get back on his feet. That's the point. That's the point. Roman Reigns doesn't care about your feelings. Doesn't care where Daniel Bryan is beat up. He's freaking tribal chief. Look, when you're on the island of relevancy and you own that island, you work on your own terms. You don't come out when people tell you to. You come out when you want to. And, you know, we had the ultimate opportunity to make his decision that he'll be going after Roman Reigns for the Universal title at WrestleMania. It's going to be Roman Reigns versus Edge at WrestleMania. By the way, give me the Tampa, please. I want to go down to Florida so bad. Yes, let me make it happen. Yeah, so I had no issue with that. I really liked the match, and what went down was good business with Edge and Roman Reigns, so I thought they did what they needed to sell you on your SmackDown World Title match at WrestleMania. So good stuff there. I'm excited to see what Edge and Roman Reigns have in store for us on SmackDown tomorrow night as I'm recording this on a Thursday. So we'll see what happens. And then as far as the main event's concerned, this is a little different variety a little bit too, because obviously a lot of these guys have experience with each other. They're all former WWE champions. I like that concept that Adam Pearce and Shane McMahon cooked up with each other for that. And for me, I like this match a lot. I thought Kofi Kingston did a great job in this match. Drew McIntyre worked his fucking ass off. People still hate watching him, and I'll never get it. And, you know, AJ Styles out there, you had almost ripping off the back of the chamber pod door, which was really cool. And then Andrew's like, get out of here, you don't belong out here. So, I enjoyed the men's chamber match. Yeah, exactly. I thought it was going to be with Drew McIntyre putting away AJ Styles in the end. And then Bobby Lashley attacked Bobby Lashley attacked Drew, laid him out, like he just straight mollywopped him. And then out came The Miz to cash the briefcase, and The Miz is your reigning, defending, undisputed WWE Heavyweight Champion of the world. And people are in their soapboxes about it for sure. And it's always cool to see talented people get rewarded for their hard work, even if they are a transitional champion. But congrats to The Miz, and I thought the Chamber was a solid pay-per-view. Again, I'm not going to come on here and act like this is like a home run pay-per-view or anything like that. I think the two things for me that was the Miz was the women's tag team title match, and then just the commentary on the show was just fucking brutal. I know you can say that about any WWE show, but I guess this one like really stood out to me more, and it was not a good night for my guy Corey Graves. wasn't a good day in the office, so it happens. It is what it is. Anyways, that's my review of the Chamber. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Did you like the Elimination Chamber? Let me know. And as far as like Raw or SmackDown is concerned, I won't really touch on SmackDown this week because I'm excited to see like the follow up for that brand, and especially with this announcement that Edge and Roman Reigns fighting each other at WrestleMania. Now I want to see how that happens, and I'll let you guys know next week about what I think is going on with SmackDown. But as far as like Raw is concerned, it was just the Bobby Lashley show. It was really cool. I played the clip earlier of Charlotte Flair telling Ric Flair to go home. I thought that was a really powerful segment and some really good stuff from Charlotte. Bully Ray said it perfectly this week on Busted Open. Like, there's nothing that girl can do, especially if you're one of those fans that just hate Charlotte for everything she does. Like, that hate watch mentality. She could cure cancer and you still hate on her. She's that good. I keep telling you guys, she's the measuring stick of the women's division as far as what goes on in the ring. And the measuring stick in the WWE is Charlotte Flair. I'm happy that Sasha's getting all the success with Mandalorian, and she had an awesome appearance on the Broken Skull Sessions. She's awesome, and she's on the right brand. She's obviously a big draw. It helps out with her numbers and stuff on Fox. Sasha Banks' draw. Nobody's disputing that. But as far as like when it comes to the brass tacks of what happens in the ring in pro wrestling, as we're talking about pro wrestling, 20 by 20 ring in those ropes, Charlotte Flair is the measuring stick of the women's division, in my opinion. So, and she even conveyed that on the mic too on Monday. So I really, really enjoyed that segment. And then trying to figure out what else really stood out. I mean, it was a really good night for the Hurt Business. I mean, they had a really good match in that tornado match with the Lucha House Party. Bobby Lashley ran through Braun Strowman like nothing. So I thought it was pretty good. So I enjoyed it. All right, that's my thoughts this week in WWE. Also, go check out NXT this week. I thought it was a pretty solid episode as well from top to bottom. Hell, I even stood up to 3:30 this morning to watch that show, and I'm kind of running low on sleep over the last day. But anyways, that's my thoughts on this week in WWE. Speaking of WWE, I have a little announcement to make for you guys before we get to our main event segment. Starting next week, I will be introducing a new segment called the NXT UK Report with Joshie. As many of you guys know me personally, my favorite pro wrestling show right now is NXT UK. Me and Jonathan Hood from Wrestling Tuesday fame and ESPN 1000 and the Captain J Hood Morning Show, shout out to Hoodie. Me and him have a kingship when it comes to our love and I don't know how you say it, just appreciation for NXT UK and their style of pro wrestling and the presentation of that show as a whole. I don't see a lot of domestic wrestling podcasts covering NXT UK or even talking about it. I really think it's the best show that WWE produces every single week. And that's just my opinion. I really enjoy NXT UK and what it represents and what it's supposed to be. So every week, before the new episode of NXT drops, since we do record this on a Thursday, I'm going to give you the NXT UK report. So that's a new segment for you guys. I'll do it every time before we get into what the hell is wrong with AEW, okay? So, little show announcement there from yours truly. Little gift for you guys for checking out the pod this week. All right, let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time that everybody's been waiting for, with bated breath. The best segment in all of professional wrestling podcasting from 2020 all the way down to 2021. It's known and described as What the Hell is Wrong with AEW? And we're going to start off with Brother Carter in a 3, 2, 1.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW? What the hell is wrong with AEW? Well, it would appear that Paul White, otherwise known as The Big Show, otherwise known as The Giant in WCW, is going to be making his way to All Elite Wrestling, which means that another WWE talent is going to see his career go completely downhill. AEW will mismanage him, they will misuse him, they will make him look like a fool. I just hope that he gets a large payday as a result and can once again steal money from Tony Khan, who just feels like giving it away to a bunch of people who produce a crappy wrestling product. Jon Moxley gets a win, fine. Cuts a good promo. That's one of the things I said about it in my notes was Jon Moxley can still cut a damn good promo. But the words that come to mind when I think of exploding barbed wire death match are garbage, dangerous, and a complete waste of time, which is what this match will be. I don't want to see it. They're going to hurt themselves. The only thought that may come out of this, and actually I saw this on Twitter, one of the good things that Twitter has done recently, one of the very, very, very few good things they've done recently, is they said that maybe Moxley's going to be taking some time off of after Revolution in order to work on being a dad, which that's fine, and this is a way to write him off of TV, fine, but it's going to be stupid, and it could completely endanger him and prevent him from being able to be the best father that he could possibly be. So Lance Archer and Phoenix have a backstage interview segment, and then of course they have a backstage brawl, because why wouldn't they? That's all AEW does, is they do backstage brawls before matches. It's whatever, like these friends are talking and all of a sudden they just start randomly brawling for no stupid reason. I have no idea why that happened. So let me get this straight. Sting, who's supposed to be a babyface, so I guess we can say in this case Sting, the dastardly face, kidnapped Taz's son and tried to commit murder by putting him in a body bag and dragging him along the road in the truck, kind of like what Taz did to Darby Allin. Man, that's a solid way for a babyface to behave, don't you think? Stupid. Absolutely stupid. And then to further it, Tony Schiavone is trying to force the audience to think that it's actually a big moment, but it was just a normal segment. He's like, "It's Sting! Oh my God, what a moment!" And marking out for no reason. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. And it gave me no reason to be more interested in this match. I'm actually not interested in Revolution at all, but we'll get to that later. But it was stupid, and Sting, who's supposed to be a face, basically tried to commit murder. Outstanding. I really don't think Miro and Kip Sabian have any right to call someone out for acting like children. I mean, let's face it. They got into this whole feud with Private Party over a video game. Like, let's be real about it. I'm not Private Party. Best Friends. Excuse me. They got into this big thing with Best Friends because of a video game. Absolutely ridiculous. Miro sucks. Kip Sabian sucks. I don't want to see their match with Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. I don't. Jake Hager doesn't take a bump correctly, and Brandon Cutler almost hurt himself, but yet Jake Hager is this big, massive acquisition for AEW. Why was this match not on Dark? This is a Dark quality match. Jake Hager versus Brandon Cutler. Couldn't believe it. And then following up with that, the Inner Circle comes out, beats down Brandon Cutler. Then we go to Jericho and MJF, who have beaten up Young Buck's dad. Now, I will say, I get what they were trying to do. I get what they were trying to do to further the storyline. But good Lord, that blood looked so fake, I couldn't take it seriously. You could tell it was fake. You could tell that the Buck's dad is not a very good actor, which kind of runs in the family. But it was so fake and so contrived. Like, it did nothing to further the storyline for me anyway. So, again, I get what they were trying to do, but as with all things involving the Bucks, it just didn't work. Do we even know if Jade Cargill knows what she's doing? Like, there's been all this hype built around her, and she's going to be tagging with Shaq, fine. But do we even know if she's capable of competing in a wrestling match? We've seen nothing from her. And now all of a sudden she's going to be in this huge tag match next week on Dynamite with Shaq, Cody Rhodes, and Red Velvet. Of course, we don't really know what Red Velvet knows what she's doing because every time I've seen her, she hasn't. So I want this match to be good because if Shaq does a good job, it's good for everybody. And if Shaq doesn't do a good job, it's good for nobody. But I just have my suspicions that this is not going to go well. And then finally, I just have one question. Does Kenny Omega do anything inside of an arena anymore? We've seen him with kids. We've seen him with, now he's in a factory working on a chamber to contain Jon Moxley. He's playing golf. The only thing he maybe does is cut small little promos challenging Jon Moxley to stupid garbage death matches. But other than that, he doesn't do anything inside of arena. He doesn't really wrestle much anymore as a champion, which is probably a good thing. And another reason to completely ask, what the hell is wrong with AEW? This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Thank you very much, Brother Carter, for the submission this week, as always. I appreciate you, my man. All right, folks, let's talk about what happened this week in AEW. What the hell is wrong with AEW? Well, the question is, what isn't wrong with AEW? So, the charm with this segment is that we could go in a lot of different directions. Obviously, I like to change it up a little bit each and every week. There's sometimes that I'll enjoy an episode of Dynamite more than others. And then there's other weeks where I just need to call a spade and just let people know what it is instead of what they're reading on social media. Because if you base your opinions on AEW solely based on what you see on Twitter, you would think that AEW is the greatest wrestling promotion or show of all time, and it's just couldn't be further and further from the truth. So with Brother Carter, he gets his thoughts in, and I could bounce it out and give more of a recap of the show. So it's a little different thing that we try to do to make this segment stand out for you guys. I hope you guys noticed that. And we don't want to repeat each other, but, that's the thing with us. Great minds think alike. And I echo a lot of the sentiments that Brother Carter shared in that. And I have more things that I could add to the layers into this part of the segment. So let's get into it. A blind squirrel can find a nut, right? We heard that analogy a gazillion times. And for the most part, I thought the matches on Dynamite were pretty decent. Nothing that really insults my intelligence. I'll get to something that I thought was ridiculous and stuff. I'm in the position where I could debunk narratives that come from wrestling shows with making these transfers because I'm breaking this down. I'm pausing and studying the tape and doing all this stuff to make sure that I have the best recap of the match for you guys on the website, right? And I'm watching the match Hangman Page and Isaiah Cassidy. Let's take everything I do for a living out of it, right? I watched it for what it is. Decent match. I enjoyed it. Did what it needs to do to build up him and Matt Hardy for Revolution, right? Okay, no problem. Then it goes into Joshie transcribing the match, and I'm seeing Aubrey Edwards, once again, our favorite referee, besides referee Tony S. Miss Aubrey Edwards decides to, Hangman Page goes out, resets the referee's 10 count, right? And they're just stalling out there for 90 seconds, and I'm noticing this as it goes on. They're setting up this big heat spot. Anytime you have a wrestler out there, especially a babyface, and they're interacting with a heel manager or valet or whatever, right? You just know something's gonna happen. So they'll stall around. They'll do a couple of reversals of Irish rips. The referee will tend to slow the cadence of the 10 count, so you get more of a dramatic effect of it. It leads up, and it's not clunky and all over the place, right? And I'm watching this, and okay, Hangman comes out, reset the 10 count. Okay, AEW is so fast. they're so fixated on having these brawls around the ringside area during their matches, right? Literally every match they have, there's always some melee on the outside, like it's New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, I'll give New Japan a pass because that's their style of wrestling and that's what they do. And I've been noticing that style of wrestling since I first started covering New Japan, so I'll give them a pass. That's part of their identity. Like, they don't care about referees. They don't respect them. They don't do any of that. But for the company, again, you know, this is the company that prides themselves on being sports-based wrestling, right? And about wins and losses matter, and, you know, giving respect to referees and doing everything supposedly that the WWE doesn't. Well, tell me this. Riddle me this, Cowboy. How is it that somebody could reset a 10 count, go out there and do more spots, and not get back in the ring for 90 seconds, and then turn around and still find a way to get into an extra heat spot because, oh my God, our referee, Aubrey Edwards, the greatest referee of all time, turns around and sees Angelico and Jack Evans losing their manhood from the underground. And so all that, like, what's the point of having a 10 count in AEW when the wrestlers still are going to abuse it? Hell, they say you have like 10 seconds to get out of the ring once you're tagged in, like in a match, right? AEW. Yet that rule doesn't apply either because I see double team spots for 2 minutes where I'm transcribing and you're supposed to be out of the ring. A guy's just standing there like fucking in Helico during AEW Dark this week, just standing in the ring for 4 minutes. Yeah, I saw you, dead courts ref. My God. It's the little things that just irk me and just takes away from the enjoyment of the show, especially from a company that calls itself All Elite Wrestling. I'm sorry, folks. I may be the only wrestling media member that holds AEW to elite standards. If you're going to call yourself All Elite, I'm holding you to elite standards. That just is what it is. You can be butthurt about it. You can be in your feelings about it. You can call me whatever you want. But facts are facts. You guys send mixed messages to your audience each and every single week. Okay, let's talk about Big Show. I'm a fan of the Big Show, so I'm not going to come on here and disparage Big Show or send any derogatory comments to him because that'd be stupid, and I'm a fan of his, so there's no reason to that. If he wanted to be part of AEW, cool. My issue is with Tony Khan this week. And Tony Schiavone as well. I'll get to Schiavone in a little bit. But, again, when are people going to hold Tony Khan accountable for so many times he talks out of both sides of his ass? Like, honestly. I don't want this company just to be a hub where we just bring in anybody from WWE that we can try to get buzzed out of. Really? Look at your last, 5 to 10 acquisitions. What the fuck are you talking about? And then, I really don't want the show to be rooted in comedy. I really want serious wrestling. Yet next week we have FTR and Tully Blanchard against the Jurassic Express. So I was supposed to take this sports-based wrestling match seriously, right? Where you have the best tag team in the world in FTR and Tully Blanchard coming out of retirement to fucking take bumps for stunted growth. Repeat that. Tully Blanchard, a Hall of Famer, going into the ring to take bumps for a fucking midget. My new motto in 2021, I got this from Hoodie. Be offended. I'm not even going to apologize for it anymore. Be offended. I don't care. There's no reason why Marco Stunt should be in a ring. I saw him against Max Caster this week on AEW Dark. By the way, thank you, Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes, since I know you guys are the ones that are producing that fucking show. Thank you for 17 matches and 4 hours of my life that I couldn't have back. There's no reason why you should have 17 matches on a goddamn YouTube show. Your wrestling is not that good in the first place to warrant that quantity of matches on one show. I love the concept that you want to give a spotlight to the younger independent talents. That's great. But when is too much for dog shit? And this brings me back to the Big Show. Like, okay, Big Show's going to come in. He's going to be an agent. He's going to be doing commentary on the spinoff from the Dark Show. Okay, whatever. What difference is going to make? Like, the hysteria that comes around AEW with all these decisions, like, oh my God, Big Show left WWE. Oh my God, the pendulum is swinging. The balance of power of wrestling changes because the Big Show is in AEW now. Really? This same fickle-ass fan base that cried like little bitches anytime the Big Show came in as a surprise tag team guy in a six-man tag or made random appearances on Raw or SmackDown? Really? Now your guys are excited to see the Big Show because he left WWE? I just get the chuckle out of the people that like apply double standards towards AEW because they hate Vince McMahon that much. They hate WWE that much. So they'll give anything a pass because it's just not WWE. And cool, if you don't like WWE, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But these are the same people that'll tell you that they hate WWE and they say they don't watch it, but they'll tell you everything that's going on they're proud of. They'll tell you this and that. Like for me, I watch wrestling for wrestling. I'm a pro wrestling fan. I love WWE. I love AEW. I love Ring of Honor. I love New Japan. Hey, by the way, did you guys hear that? I love AEW because I love pro wrestling. I'm a pro wrestling fan. So I gotta wait for this interview next week where I'm gonna probably hear Big Show go on a soapbox about how the old man didn't let me do what I wanted to do. He didn't give me my match with Shaq, so like I have to like condition my head what Big Show's promo is going to be and some subtle jab at the WWE because that's all they got. I told you guys last week this is a fucking dirt sheet promotion. This is not a pro wrestling company. Okay, the owner of the AEW is a fucking money mark. That's the only difference. They have the money of WWE, but do they have the right people in place to make it a professional company and make it something to be proud of and to put on the market out there for advertisers? Like, look at my code. This is AEW. You know what we're having as our main event for our next pay-per-view? A fucking barbed wire death match. And yeah, like Brett Carson, what's with fucking Olivier, Lenny Oshemga, doing all these weird ass ads going into the pay-per-view? Is that him mocking Moxley before his match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32? Like I don't get it. I don't. And then, okay, here's the thing that like really set me off this weekend. All due respect to Tony Schiavone, I respect him, and there's been more times that I enjoyed his work. By the way, I actually liked AEW commentary when it was just Tony Schiavone and Chris Jericho, and they were doing those shows at the Nightmare Factory. But Tony Schiavone was on another level this weekend. I can notice more production flaws, and some things are just disingenuous, especially when the show is taped. Last night's episode of Dynamite was taped, so I guess there's some progress. I could differentiate the fact that better shows when it's taped than live because their live shows just absolutely suck, and especially commentary on live shows sucks. So to have a bad night at the office on a tape show is really bad too. Like, you guys know where I stand with JR and Excalibur, but this week was the tipping point for me for Tony Schiavone. I respect him. I knew he was the voice of WCW, and I know people are going to be really offended by what I say here about Tony Schiavone this week, but Tony Schiavone serves no purpose in AEW when it comes to play-by-play commentary. I know he's doing the thing with Big Show, and I'm sure that'll be cool or whatever, but when it comes to Dynamite, your marquee show, get him off the fucking booth. First off, he's saying that not Phoenix. He's saying that Cassidy and Hangman Page match was a classic. And, like, oh, I gotta say this, we gotta say this. Like, I know that that's the stuff about the double standards. Like, everybody's like, oh, we can't get to WWE commentary because Vince pipes in stuff into Corey Graves and Michael Cole's ears. Well, you tell me that Tony Khan doesn't do it? How many times during the fucking main event you had Tony Schiavone being like, oh, I gotta say, man, this is a classic match. This is an instant match of the year. Like, they're fucking jamming it down your fucking throats of Phoenix and Lance Archer having this fucking clinic of a match. It was fine. It was good. I enjoyed the match. And then Tony Schiavone, anytime he talks during the Sting segment, my ears start to bleed. I get it. He is his guy, and they're friends, and everybody loves, it's Sting! It's Sting! But every time Sting comes out now, I fucking cringe. First off, he should not be in the ring. I don't care whether he's cleared or not. And secondly, I'm so tired of hearing Tony Schiavone's fucking forced-ass reactions every time that Sting comes out. It's as bad as Michael Cole when somebody makes a damn return to the Royal Rumble. Isn't it? Is it? Could it be? Could it be? Like, oh my God. There was a couple of matches I liked on the show. I liked Britt Baker and Nyla Rose. I thought that was fine. I liked the main event, and I mentioned earlier I liked the Page match with Isaiah Cassidy. But even then, like, I'm watching the show, and it does nothing for me. I'm not entertained. I'm not on the edge of my seat for Revolution. I really don't care about the pay-per-view. I posted up the card for it on my Twitter page the other day, and it's like, what about Revolution is must-see? Like, why should we care? I'm sorry, guys. I don't want to come on here and be the broken record and being Cornette all the time when it comes to AEW, but their show sucks. You know, I'm not saying that because I want to. I'm saying that objectively. They are by far the worst wrestling show that I cover every single week. And them doing a fucking 17-match card on Dark this week did not help matters. So, all in all, that is what's wrong with AEW this week. All right, folks. I'm going to wrap it up right there. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today for this fun edition of the Hoots Podcast. As always, the Hoots Podcast sends you free of charge every single Thursday on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get your podcasts from, right? And we don't have a Patreon. We don't have any of those. All I ask for you guys is subscribe to the podcast and leave us a 4/5-star review and rating on Apple Podcasts because it really helps expand the reach of the show. We are 3 episodes away from hitting episode 250, which is absolutely insane to me. So March 25th, write it down, folks. Put it in your calendars. Right before WrestleMania season, episode 250 will go down on March 25th. Right here on the Hoots Podcast. It'll be a lot of fun to do. So, as always, make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com as well. I appreciate the support for the website. It means a lot to me. And don't forget, we'll be back here next week to get you all set up for the Revolution pay-per-view. We'll make predictions for that show. And right now, I'm going to head it off and send it off to Brett Carter, the one and only Brett Carter, for his segment this week. But I just wanted to let you guys know, always remember, be the authentic product that is yourself. And remember, nobody's dictating the pace of your life but yourself. I love you guys. Live life on your own terms and take it one day at a time. And shout out to the one. That's all I'll say. So, I'm Joshie. Thank you guys so much. This has been episode 246 of the Hoots Podcast. Now it's time to send out to Brett Carter for this week's edition of the Thoughts of Dericho. I'm Joshie. Screw the Wrestling Observer. Be yourself. We'll talk to you guys next week. Yes, sir.
And now, the Thoughts of Dericho. Listen well, man. Welcome, welcome, one and all, to the segment we knew would never be eliminated. It is the Thoughts of Dericho, featuring the one, the only, Brother Carter. Speaking of eliminated, what an event the Elimination Chamber was this past Sunday. I really, really enjoyed it. Every match on the card, by and large, was good. There's some good things I enjoyed about all of them, so let's run it down and just give a few thoughts. Great opening chamber match. Daniel Bryan is incredible. He ran the gauntlet in the Elimination Chamber. He did great. Cesaro did great. Really enjoyed that. Looks like we're getting Edge versus Roman Reigns at Mania. No surprises there. That's been reported for a long time, but I can't wait to see it. And it looks like we've got the potential for a really great story leading up into WrestleMania. You've got new generation versus old generation. You've got Spear versus Spear. You've got the Big Return versus the Tribal Chief. So we'll see what happens with that. I am hoping that they have a good match at WrestleMania, but congratulations to everyone involved with that. I'm glad to see Matt Riddle as the new United States champion. I've always been a big fan of Riddle. I know there's a lot of people that don't like him, but I love Matt Riddle. I think he's hilarious. I think he's good in the ring. So congratulations to Matt Riddle. I think that's awesome. Really glad he's U.S. champ. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go next. I don't know if he's going to, well, I don't know where he's going to go next. Is he going to keep feuding with John Morrison? We'll have to see who's next in line for a U.S. title shot, but hopefully they'll get a chance to showcase him at Mania, because I think he deserves it. And congratulations to him. That's great. I don't think it'll be against Bobby Lashley. I don't think it'll be against John Morrison. So we'll have to see who gets the U.S. title match going forward. Please, 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 please. Let the women's tag team titles go to NXT. I think that Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez should eventually end up beating Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax for the tag titles. And let Nia and Shayna be on their own. They're much better as single stars, especially Shayna Baszler, who I think is one of the absolute best. So get them off of Shayna and Nia, get them to NXT, and then we can all move forward with the singles action on the main roster. No advancement of the story with The Fiend at Chamber, which I thought was interesting. We'll get into that a little bit. But the big story to come out of the Elimination Chamber was The Miz as your new WWE champion. Now, I don't think he's going to be WWE champion for very long. My guess is that he drops it at Fastlane. They just wanted to do something to maybe further his storyline getting into Mania, or to just get that briefcase off of him so that they can get ready to do the next briefcase in the summer. But either way, for the first time in 10 years, The Miz is the WWE champion. I love it. Always been a big fan of The Miz, especially the last few years, what he's done. He's one of the top draws for WWE, what he does with his media work with the company, outside of the company. The Miz is a main event player, and congratulations to him once again being the WWE champion. That's great. Switching gears to Raw, it appears, speaking of the world title, that Lashley is going to be in the world title picture, which I think is long overdue. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. I would love to see that. What Bobby Lashley has done with the Hurt Business since being a part of them has been phenomenal. He's done an amazing job with the U.S. champ. Bobby Lashley looks better than he's ever looked in his entire career. No doubt. He is main event material. He looks good. He's great on the mic. I love him with MVP in the Hurt Business. I want to see him versus McIntyre at Mania. I think that's going to be great. Rhea Ripley is coming to Raw. I love it. Maybe she'll be challenging Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship at Mania. We'll have to see. Because I could see Bianca Belair going against Sasha Banks, and then Rhea Ripley challenging Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. They wouldn't be advertising her this early if they weren't planning to put her on the Mania card. So just keep that in mind. But I love Rhea Ripley. I think she is easily could be the face of the women's division, and that is absolutely fantastic. Why hasn't Retribution just whooped the hell out of Mustafa Ali yet? He keeps berating them, but there's 4 members of Retribution and 1 Mustafa Ali. They could just beat the crap out of him anytime they wanted. I'm surprised they just haven't realized that Mustafa is the weakest link, and then they just kick the crap out of him eventually. I think it's coming, but we'll have to see. I guess I just don't know where Mustafa Ali goes from there, but I don't know. The Retribution storyline's kind of fizzling and fading out. We're going to get Shane McMahon versus Braun Strowman at WrestleMania, aren't we? I just have this feeling we're going to be getting Strowman and Shane and Braun at Mania. And I get it. There's 2 nights of the show. They need to fill the card on both nights. I get it. I guess that's what we're getting. Sure, why not? I guess this completes Shane McMahon's battling of big men at WrestleMania. He's taking on Taker, Big Show. There's one other one he took in there. I can't remember who it was, but now it looks like he'll be getting Braun Strowman as well. So we will have to see. Hurt Business looking as good as usual. It would seem the tag team champions are back on the same page, so that's great. So Bad Bunny gets pyro and Damian Priest doesn't. I can't figure that one out, but fine. I guess whatever works. Apparently Bad Bunny's merchandise sales have been through the roof with WWE. So I don't get it, but whatever. That's just me. I love Damian Priest, though. He is an absolute badass. He is the freaking man. I love me some Damian Priest. He's going to be a big star in the company. Just you wait and see. So it would appear that Randy Orton has been influenced by Papa Shango as he was coughing up black liquid on Raw during his promo this week. So I obviously we're going to get Orton and The Fiend at Mania. I don't know when they're going to make this match happen, how long they're going to draw this out before the return of The Fiend. Maybe he's just going to do something with Alexa Bliss, and the next time, actually what I'd like to see, I just thought of this, is the next time we see The Fiend is at Mania with that entrance. Because The Fiend's entrance is something special. The Fiend in general is something very special. He's one of the only characters in WWE that can continue to be relevant without being on the show. And that's really what it is. He's, because of Alexa Bliss, he's still relevant without being on the show. And that's amazing. So obviously we're going to get Orton and Fiend at Mania. I don't know when they're going to set that up, but it should be great when they finally do. Okay, so I have to admit, I've been a little bit critical of the women's division as of late on Raw. And I was thinking about this as I was watching this week. When was the last time that Asuka was in a real feud? She's the champion, for gosh sakes. Her last championship match was against Alexa Bliss like over a month ago. I just don't know what's happening with the Raw women's division. It's really disappointing, actually, and I'm not a fan of it. There's just... Asuka's the champion, and you've got all this talent on Raw, but what are they doing with it? I mean, Charlotte's doing something with Lacey and now Ric Flair. You've got Shayna and Nia, who are involved with the tag team title division. I mean, Lacey Evans is now pregnant. So are they bringing in Rhea Ripley to challenge Asuka, I guess? But what does that say about all these other incredibly talented women on Raw? So it's real frustrating to me that they haven't done anything with Asuka, who I think is one of the absolute best in the world. She's number 3 on my, if I have to rank the female talent, I've got, Asuka at 3, Alexa Bliss at 2, and Charlotte at 1. But I just don't know what they're doing with it. And it's kind of frustrating. I'm not going to lie to you guys about that. I really would like to see more direction from the Raw women's division. Charlotte knocked out Asuka and didn't exactly feel remorse. That's why she's a Flair. Woo! We're looking forward to seeing what happens with Charlotte and Rick going forward. I mean, obviously they can both still go. I don't know if, with Lacey obviously going to be gone for a while, I don't know what they're going to do with that going forward. Maybe this leads to a return of Becky Lynch too. You never know. But I'll be curious to see where they go with this, going forward. Great match with, Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Great match with AJ Styles and Ricochet. They made the most of their time in a 1-segment match. I mean, and that's what you hear this all the time. Make the most of your time. And that's exactly what they did. And they did a great match, as they always do. I wonder when we're going to see Omos wrestle. Is he actually going to wrestle, or is he just going to be, this large bearing figure for AJ Styles? And when are we going to actually get to see Omos in a ring? I'm curious about that. And of course, Bobby Lashley, at the end of the show, Bobby Lashley beats Braun Strowman clean and then holds up the WWE Championship belt. And that is a really good look on him and could be a sign of things to come. Just a couple other things, and then I'm going to wrap this up this week. I want to talk about the positives of AEW this week. My segment earlier in the show was a bit shorter because I'm going to be honest, I actually enjoyed this week's edition of AEW Dynamite. There was some really good wrestling on the show, and that's what I want to see. So let's talk about that. Jon Moxley can still cut a great promo. I mentioned that earlier. And he made me believe in what he was saying. Now, I still don't want to see the garbage death match, but he made me believe in what he was saying. So Moxley can cut a promo, no doubt. Ricky Starks and Brian Cage look real good. That was a good match. Adam Page and Isaiah Cassidy had a good match. That was great. Another solid match from the women's division with Britt Baker and Nyla Rose. That was great. Really good. And a good match from Lance Archer and Rey Fenix to close the show. So really good wrestling on AEW Dynamite this week. So congratulations to AEW for their in-ring action. We need to see more of that and not this other stupid crap that they do that I talked about earlier in my segment earlier. But good stuff all around from AEW this week. So congratulations. And those are the thoughts of Dericho for this week. My final thought, everybody, is let's just continue to stay healthy, continue to stay safe, continue to wear your mask. For the folks down in Texas and Louisiana and other parts of the South, looks like things are getting better and sunnier, and so that's all great. I hope everything gets back to normal for everybody soon. Keep wearing your mask, guys, and I hope to see you all down the road.
This has been the Thoughts of Dericho. You're smarter now, man.